Hello and welcome. Today is Tuesday, the 20th day of June 2017. Welcome. Let's take a look at the main cryptocurrencies, and everything I state in here is what I think, what I am doing, and anything you decide to do, you take your own risk, own reward. I'm providing how I see the market, information, education, entertainment, however you want to perceive it. So let's get started. From this low point in here, price action has now spent what is now the fourth day within the correctionary front-weighted 18 average of highs and lows. So I call it the 18 average band, and I like it because it helps me tell the story and it helps me determine when markets are correcting, and that's what it's doing from this down move. And within such, the momentum has been going a little bit higher, but it still needs to break through some of these key points. So if you were looking to say, you know what, you go up, down, I'm expecting this to be a lower high, and I'm going to sell or go short, well, that didn't work out because I would have rather just see some sort of indication from this to help me tell the story. And you can be making the same case here for the long side, that you want to see it have a clear break above the resistance area fields. Let's move this on now to a shorter term time frame, and the 4-hour time frame, and I'll use this as the perfect example to show how I like to look at the reversal of trend and a good entry spots to get in. And the answer is now for the entry spot, but what you're looking for is the downtrend mark. The 18 average goes sideways right in here. Step one. Step two, rally to establish a level of resistance. It rallied, it established resistance in here. Step three, come back to the band, and it spends several periods going back to the band, and then the next step is breaking it, which it's just doing now. Just doing that now. So you'd basically be going long at this stage. So it's like, oh, I see it, the pattern's there, it's barely convincingly above, and yeah, let's do it. And even beforehand, the recognition, you see these three small candles in here, now riding that upper area, big candle, big candle. You can't be surprised because these three periods indicated that bullish momentum is coming into play. And now we got to start talking about making some tests of these previous highs. And yeah, so that's that. Let's move on to Ethereum and the daily chart, which has had a long sideways move from this up point and even this price correction down to the 18 average of lows. And the trend has been very noticeable. Very good up move, side, up move, side, up move, and each of the up moves are really good. Side, up. This was price correction, not side. Up, side, up, side. What's the next one? Probably up. At least risk reward probability odds states, yeah, probably a good idea. At least I'm going long because I think it's a good idea. Within the 4-hour time frame, we can see more of this sideways consolidation. There's no indication saying, oh, it looks like it's breaking out or breaking down soon, because quite frankly, it is not. But hey, it's still within the that sideways movement. It's probably going to break out higher, but I can't guarantee that for sure. I think another thing worth noting is when you see situations where you're playing on the breakout and then you're going to get some early losses, who cares? And I mean it, like, for example, say you bought here. That was a great time to buy because it broke past this resistance and it looked like it was going to go higher. But notice, had you bought here for a little bit, you would have been down. And then in here, you would have been up. So there's going to be a lot of situations where when you buy in these little ranges, you could be down early on in a good setup, and it's not uncommon for early losses to occur, because oftentimes within bullish setups, all you're going to get are small corrections anyway. And for the most part, that's all that's been going on, has been small corrections, at least since it's settled in from this point. Let's move on to ETC. Actually, no, let's take a look at the cross of Ethereum with Bitcoin, then go to ETC. And we'll start with the 4-hour chart, and notice in here, breaking down support of this sideways range with a decent size red candle down move where it's supposed to test support, this last area here. Of course, the reason this is happening, you could say, well, that's because Bitcoin is starting its rally first. And, well, if Ethereum follows, then it'll catch up. So it could work out that this could even have a small correctionary move to where it came from. And let's just talk about a small correctionary move from where it stands at these numbers. First thing, it was trading in this 140 range down to 133. That's a loss of 7 basis points on it and a 5% decline just for this. When a stock loses 5%, that's like multiple days usually, or one huge hit on earning news like Walmart would have had probably last week. It lost like 7% in one day, whatever. But a move down to here, which would just be a correctionary move by all means, is from this point going from 133 to 115. That's a difference of about 18 basis points, and that's about 13%, and that's just like a whatever correctionary move. Because when we adjust this to the daily, all that has happened is a miniature small red candle move, continuation of this sideways trend that has now reached the band, which tells me it's corrected long enough where I consider this a solid correctionary move, and it can correct in the band for long periods of time if it wishes to. But the overall trend of this and many other markets has been up, sideways, and up. And you can see now that it's in the sideways mode. If you're holding, then you might have to go through several days of small losses, small gains, or break-even performance, which has been the case lately. But you realize that if it's going to go higher, well, later on, well, let's just put it this way. We go from different highs of 60, and then it goes up to 85, and then it goes up to 110, and then it goes up to like 140 something, and now it's going to go past this 170. It probably would on the break of such. But if you're looking for bullish behavior within the band, we can see that before that the band was rising in here, it left it in here. So it didn't take long before the gains in that point. As far as from this correctionary move, you were leaving the band in here. From this point here, you left it there. You came back again and in here. So there's so many different points. And even at the start of this chart in here, there's a spot where you established resistance, it came back to the support, broke it in here, and boom, how you doing kind of deal. So there's the Ethereum. Let's move on to ETC. And within this one, it's a situation in which you left the band here, made this level, come back to it again, sideways action. I like how this support is previous resistance, and a few days ago, breakout past this band. So if you're in a situation where if you bought at this point and now you're barely down, well, that's a very much a common situation, but we're in a spot where things are now looking to get into very much a bullish behavior because you're talking about this nicely rising average in place. And those are the indications that I'm looking for if you're looking for a break over major resistance. In here, I'm going long on this now because I do like how this is performing, and like a lot of these charts, I know when this a 90 handle gets taken out, that these things can go pretty wild. Last time it went from bottom of about 30 up to over 90, a 3x gain. And here it goes from 21 up to about 55, so about a 2.5x gain. And in here it goes from a bottom of about 11 something, even up to here, wherever, we're up to over 20, so better than a 2x gain. So now we'll be talking from a bottom of 60, and better than a 2x gain would be 120, and then 2.5 would be 150. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this go anywhere from 120 to 180 on the break above. Let's move on to Dash. And within such, it's got a nice interesting pattern as you had this rally breaking out above the band, and it had several days supporting where it came from, previous resistance. Nice little break again here, and a move back to the band. Now, what's very common in stocks and I guess other forex is a little break above here, a fast move red candle back within the range, and then failed move fast move to the downside. That really isn't too as common within such. So if you're like, oh man, I want to get in, it's really not the worst of times to say, you know what, I got a price at 70 even. Man, I know this thing is going to breaking past the into the 85s and so on and so forth. That if you're confident enough, to me it's a good play because you're looking at risk reward management. Likelihood you're going to be correct and get gains and what your level of gains will be. Likelihood you're going to be wrong, it's going to sell off, and the losses you're going to take, and the likelihood you just end up breaking somewhere close to even. We'll call those a tie. But with the newly rising 18 average like this, I also like that bowl shape formation if you can find it, where it goes down and then starts to go back up, or a smiley face, however you want to look at it. And when it's in the curve up, and that's what this one is having. Now with Litecoin and its daily chart, ever since it broke past in here, big green candle day, even bigger green candle, too small follow through up, and today a small down day, small 9.73% right now. How do I know that? It's on the upper part of the screen. It's right here. But that's the beautiful part about this. I can say stuff like only a 9.3% down day and really mean it. Or I can say that it broke resistance from 12 to about 19, a gain in or around only 50%, or a standard regular breakout test of a 50% gain. There's a lot of big plays that can happen here. I'm going to be looking to see how this is going to work out within this 18 average band. Will this have further price correction down? We can see that the upper part of this right now is in the 14 handle. I mean, going from 165 to 140 is a 15% small correction, but that can make a decent difference in a portfolio. And if you're a trader looking for those kinds of moves that would normally take a longer amount of time, that is, in the traditional stock markets, you got better results in here for volatility. So I'm looking for maybe a price correction in here. Maybe even, I mean, a lot of the sideways stuff, that could very easily come into play as well. But you also want to make sure that if you do see momentum coming in here, breaking higher, that after the second big day, when you have a situation of two small up days in this down one so far, that you're having at least a minimal correctionary mode. And there should be, not necessarily will be, a lot more. And as I state, you need more further price or more time for that to be the case. So when this thing stabilizes better within such, then that's when I'll be looking for long opportunities. I'll give you an example of such. Here's a spot where it went way up. It needed to get back to the span to stable, and in here it was. And we could see breaking past both of these resistance fields led to gains along the way. But if you bought here, just look at this again. If you buy here, you're hardly getting gains from the start. You're going to be going through losses in here if you hold. And as long as you don't mind waiting a couple weeks, oh, now you got a few days where now you can take some of your profits. So a lot of these codes, a lot of these setups are going to be bringing situations where you might want to get in and out fast, but you might have no choice but to wait a few days to ride it out. ZEC or Zcash is next, and it's been doing well in holding where it came from, previous resistance as support. But if you look at the pattern, you go up around like that. Man, that's pretty much a nice looking pattern. I like how it's been holding. And there could, again, like in Litecoin, you can definitely make a case that it can correct a little bit more. There's always that situation of coming back to where it came from in here. But the 18 average band still rising, it's still above it. You could state, but there's like why further correction could even maybe come in the 13 area. or why it could even be like 3-4 more days, or even 10 plus days, or even a month or so of going sideways is never out of question. Moving on to Ripple, and it's actually looking more possible where you may want to look I might want to look towards going long. And that's why I want to say I might look to, because I don't know what you're doing, nor do I really care. So you do what you decide. But what I'm looking at is I got a sideways situation for several days and it's broke out. Okay, good. Now I want to see some sort of resistance get established. It could be, I mean, right now it's a little over 12, and that's fine. And it could even be here. In fact, technically this is kind of an already established area in at 14 that ideally I would like to see it even rally a little bit up to it. But situation, the 18 band is now flat, established resistance, come back, some sort of break. Then I probably want to make a long position on Ripple because it's got some wild moves from the past. At least as May started, I mean, wow, what a move. And when this thing gets going, maybe it has the potential to do so again. But I need to have bullish setups to give me any reason to be have conviction within this market.